Hello everyone, I'm Hilary Chin. Thank you all so much for coming and watching this YouTube channel. If you're a parent, please share this to your children. If you're a teacher, share this to your students, okay? Maybe in your WhatsApp groups. This channel is targeting young people across Africa, Cameroon, that are transitioning to universities and also who are in high schools, okay? Now, what we are trying to do is teach you basic Excel skills because you need them in your work environment. As you graduate from school, you will need some basic skills to survive in the job market. And Excel is one of those skills that I recommend based on my experience with UN agencies, international organizations, and also working with my organization to build these tools to monitor and also implement projects. So of course, today we are going to be showing you some basic when it comes to Excel, okay? We'll be talking about Excel workbook, sheets, merging, columns, rows. These are basic Excel functions that I'm going to be teaching you. And of course, we are not just teaching functions and formulas. We're going to be showing you how to use real-time data and design some or bring out some insights from those data using some of the skills that we are going to be teaching you. Please do well to have your machine, do well to have your internet so you stay connected and focused. While you watch, make sure you practice. It's very, very important. Parents, please, this is important. Share this with your children. We are trying to see how we can galvanize some of our youths to be able to learn some of these skills that are very important. Of course, the next video is going to be on how to use some of the skills that you learn from this video to design some basic data entry tools. Of course, let's jump in so I show you what I mean.
So guys, please make sure that as you watch, you have your machine, you have your tool. As you watch, you practice, okay? It's very important to practice. You can be using your phone and watching and then practicing, okay, with your machine. So right here, normally before you use Excel, you need to have a version of Excel, okay? So here I have 2.19 version. This is my Excel here. This is the software. This is how it looks. And you need to install it in your machine, okay? There are services around Clark's Quarters and many places to install it in your machine. It's just 5,000 francs. Some take 10,000. I don't know how much. But those are for the lower versions. If you want to get the Microsoft 316 or 365, sorry, you need to pay online. I think 1 year is about 50,000 or 60 or so for individual, and it's very cheap, extremely cheap, based on what we do with the tool. So right here, this is my Excel. I have launched my Excel, and here we have. So Excel has workbook. So this is my workbook. Excel is like a book, and in that book you have different pages, okay? So if you see here, I have opened many pages. So I have these different sheets that I have opened here. You have cell, range, merge, which we are going to be looking at now. These items have been carefully selected because these are the items that you are going to be using many times when you work with data, okay? Within your organization, your school, as a secretary, etc. Now, while we are here, the first thing I want you to know is right here, these are the tabs. These places are called tabs. And these are where you have different tools that or items that you want to use. You can come here, okay? And then these areas are called the ribbons. These are the ribbons. Now, if you go to the tab of home, you find different things here. You find the pace, you find the font size, maybe make it big or small. You find coloring, you find how to adjust your text, left, right, up, down. You find amazing things, okay? You find the option to wrap your text, to merge, and so many other things. You come to insert the same here. You insert graph, tables, shapes, etc. We are going to be doing this as we move ahead gradually, okay? Here you can draw on your Microsoft Excel depending on the project you are doing. Layout, you adjust your layout. It can be font, it can be portrait, it can be landscape, etc. The margin as well, and then here formulas. You have all the formulas of Excel are found here. You have data. This, you mostly use this aspect. Take note of this data tab, and the insert tab and the home tab, okay? always take note of this, because you are going to be using this very often, because here we have our sorting, here we have our filters. I'll tell you what filters are. Here we have our data validation, very important. We use this a lot. These are some of the key items that I'm going to be showing you as we move ahead. And then review as well. Here you have other amazing stuff that you can look here. You can protect your sheet. We'll be looking at this in other videos. And then here you have view. Here you can remove your grid lines, you can put them back, you can remove your formula bar, you can put it back. You know, these are some of the items that you're going to be using. And you have Aerobat, you have Power Pivot, and you have QuickBooks. QuickBooks has been embedded here. It's a good news. Those of you who are really finance experts, you are going to be using this as well. But for today, I just want to walk you through this tool to see how it looks. Don't be scared. And I just want to show you some very basic things that we are going to be using ahead of time. So this video is important. Watch it carefully. Make sure you follow it and pay attention with every detail I teach you on this video. Okay, it's very important. We'll start with ribbon. We have looked at ribbon and tab. We'll go now to workbook. We've already understood that workbook is what we are seeing here, and we have different sheets that we have opened that we have seen. Now we'll go to column. So this is a column. A column is this line that runs down. Okay, I don't want to be using the word vertical and horizontal. Okay, this line that runs down. Okay, and then here we read column by letters. So this is column F, this is column G, this is column H. Why is it important to take note? Because when you start using data and putting data in this tool, there are times that you want to tell your management or tell someone to go to the data. So to make them quickly get that data or that information, you will say go to column F and remove this particular data. Then it makes the work easy for them and for you. Okay, because if I give you data here, thousands or millions of data inside this Excel, and I just say, hey, go and check this, it will be difficult. So you will be specific to tell them go to column F or column E. So it runs right up to column, you see, column AY, column AZ. So it runs as many as that. Okay, and then next we're looking at is rows. Your rows are here. These are your rows. These lines that runs on this other side. So here we read them by numbers. Okay, this is row 8, this row 1, this row 2, okay, this row 3. So we read them by numbers. So there are two things that you must pay attention with Excel. You have rows and columns. Columns are read by letters, rows are read by numbers. Okay, now we go to cells. Now this is cell. Now you see that cells are these little boxes that you see here. Okay, these are cells, but I use this example here that I painted red for emphasis. Okay, so right here you see that this cell is an intersection of the column and the row. So each cell is read by the letter and the number. So this is cell G5. If I click here, it changes up here, cell G4. If I click here, it changes cell F4. If I click here, it changes cell C4. If I click here, it changes cell A3. If I click here, it changes cell C10. So it's not about cramming. Just understand it that anywhere you see a cell is an intersection of your column and your row. Okay, it's very important. The next thing we'll see is a range. Range is just an area that you select like this. This is a range. Okay, this is a range, and any area that you select more than one cells is called a range. So this is my range. You might want to do your data and they say from this range of data I want to analyze this range. Okay, we're going to be using this a lot, so pay attention with these details. The next thing is merge. Merging here simply means creating an opening, maybe to write a text. For instance, let me delete this for now, or just right click, select, right click, and then I delete. Perfect. There was a merge. I did a merge there. That's why I want to delete, so I show you. So to merge, you will now use your range first, and then you select. If you look at your Excel, let me make this bigger. If you look at your Excel very well, you see that there are some small lines, okay, that runs down and sideways. So it shows the connection of your column and rows as you have seen. So to merge is to delete this line. So if I select here, and I come up to my home tab, which I said pay attention with home tab, data tab, okay, and insert tab. Pay attention with those three. We are going to be using it a lot. So when I go to my home tab and then I click this range, I come now to my merge here and I click. It says merge and center. It means you can merge and put your text in center. It says merge across. So let's click merge and center. You see, I have removed this space. So because I said mesh and center, if I put in my mouse in here, it turns to this small white cross. If I double click, it turns to a small cursor. You see it is blinking, right? It's blinking. And I can just write hello. And once I write hello, I click out of that merge. So it automatically brings it in the middle because I said merge and center. So if I click back there and I come here and I say merge cells and I just click, it has still merged. It's the same thing. If I click back here again and I come and I say merge across, you see? So what it does is it only removes the lines of the columns, okay? Lines of the columns, and leaves the rows. If you look at very well, the rows are there, the lines from the rows are there, but the lines of the columns are still they have been removed because I said merge across. Okay, I can come here now and I click on merge, and then it goes back to number, and then my text selects now a cell by default and then goes there. I'll just delete that. Okay, so that is merge. Borders. So border here is something very, very interesting. Border is simply creating a range and selecting an area that you want to emphasize on that area on your data. Okay, let's say I want to create a tool, which we are going to be doing in the next lesson. I will select a range here, and then I come now to my home again, which I said we are going to be using a lot, and I come to this small item here, and then I set all borders and I click. So I have selected all borders. You see, so I have created a border here. Okay, so I can go back. This tool here is undo, so I can undo and go back where I was previously. So if I select this area again and I come to this border again, I can decide to say right border, and I click right. So once I click right, you see that by my right here, it creates a small border line here. I can still decide to select this again, and then I come again to this border and I go to by top border and I click top border. You see it creates another line by the top. Okay, so it's just about emphasizing in or on a particular area in your sheet to create those borders. So I can come here and I say outside borders and I click. Outside border simply goes out of here and then creates me this border and leaves the middle of this range empty. Okay, so there's no border in the middle, but outside of this you have a border. This is very important. It's just to be creative, guys. You can still come here. You have many options, and then you use these options. But one thing I want you to note is when you look at here, it says thick border. So it shows from these small items that you see here. This one says right border, so it prints right. It shows you a small, very thick black here, showing that when you apply this is what will happen on your sheet. So you can do it. If I say thick border, if I come here and I select, always make sure you first select. That is why those range are important. And you click thick, you see it makes it more thicker. You see now. So that is what is important here to note. So we'll just move next. So this is the fonts. We are going now to fonts. What is fonts? It's simply the size of your text. So if I come here now and I click our range as we did before, and then I go now and I use our merge center and I write hello again. Okay, I can just come here and I double click and I go to this fonts and I begin to click. As I click the letter A, the big letter A, it makes my fonts bigger, and I click the small letter A, it makes my font smaller. So here I can still decide to choose this option that tells me how many font size I want to use. I can say 24, and then it gives me this amount. I can still say 18, it gives me this size, and I can still say 26, it gives me this size. Okay, and before we move ahead, let me just take this opportunity to show you how to organize this text within this area that we have merged. If I come to this item here, still in home, I come to this item and I click this item, you see it moves this text. If I click here, it moves it in the middle. If I click here, it moves it right down. If I click here, it takes it to this other side. If I click here, it takes it to that side. If I click in the middle here, it brings it to the middle. Okay, so this is very important. So many times we're going to create a tool, we'll use all these. Okay, so I just want to show you these basic things that you need to pay attention. Now the next thing we'll go is to color our rows and our columns. So the only thing, the best thing to do here, we have seen this as our column and we have seen this as our row, right? So to color my column is just to click and then come to this small bucket. This bucket shows colors. Okay, so I can color this with green as we saw previously. So this is how I did my colors. Okay, I can still choose a small area, do a range of a small area, and then I color. You see, why is it showing this? Because I had already chosen green. I can still come here and change the different colors by going back there and changing. Now that one become default color, and then I can still select now even my rows. So I can select my rows in this manner and then I color. This is important, guys, because you are going to be creating a lot of tools. You need to use colors a lot. And then here, why I have my color here, I can still come over here and I create a border, okay? Because when you create a color without a border, you will lose your grid lines. So I'll come here now, I go to border and I say all borders. You see? So it shows me the border. I can still do it here the same. It shows me the border lines and my colors, because you might want to create colors but keep your border lines or click your grid lines. So the border helps you to make those lines visible while you do your coloring, okay? And then here now is my mouse. It's very important. I'll make this bigger. So my mouse here is important. So this is my mouse playing, as you see here. So if I put this mouse here, it turns to that small cross, like a small arrow facing down. So it tells me different actions. So if I click, I'll select that column, okay? If I put it on the other side, it turns the same. I click, I'll select that column. Now, while I'm playing with it, you see that it's a small white cross. So it has a different function at that level. Now I can select a cell, okay? I can just select a cell, and then I start writing in that cell, you see? Or I can just come here and I go within a cell, and I come at this end of the cell here, and I play this end of the this line of the column right here, and then it turns to a small black cross. So I can hold my mouse down, and then while it is still down, and I shift, you see, I want to make this area big. So I have opened this column, you see it's bigger now, okay? Now I can still put it back, hold it back, and I bring it closer. So this is the importance of the change of your mouse. Now you see that it has changed again when I select, when it's a big white cross, and I select, and I come to this small end here, it turns to a small black cross. It allows me to share something. It allows me to share the same text down. For instance, if I have hello here again, sorry, I decided to choose hello. And then here now we come here and it turns to this small black cross, and I share it down. It brings all those other texts down. We'll be doing this a lot, okay? So these are some basic things you need to understand. And then in terms of zooming, making yourself your sheet bigger or smaller, there are many ways you can do it. I can come down here to this small option here, and I go to plus, and as I click my plus, you see that it grows bigger. I click my minus, it grows smaller. You see now. So this is very, very important, guys. And I can also come up here, go to view here. So to view here, I can still come to zoom, okay, and it gives me this small box here. Okay, so I can decide to choose, it says it's at 90 now, custom is 90. I can decide to choose 200, and I click OK. You see that our column and cells and rows are very big now. I can decide to go back, and then I choose, go to zoom, and then I choose 100, or I still choose the 90%. Okay, I prefer to choose 100, and I click OK. You see, so this is how you can change zoom, make your cell and column, especially your sheet, bigger and smaller. So now there's another thing I want us to look at: copy and paste. Okay, copy and paste here is important because you'll be using this a lot. So now if I put hello here again, and then I come here, and then I choose with my white cross here, and then I come to this and I right click. Okay, it gives me copy. I have copied that item, so it shows that I have copied something here, and I click on another cell. I can still right click here, and then I go to paste. So with paste, I'm happy with paste because you can paste just values, you can paste formulas with formulas, you can paste transpose by turning it around. We'll be looking at this specifically again in another video. You can paste by formatting, you can paste just a link, but today I want us to just learn this basic paste, and I click. So I have pasted here. I can still click this small arrow to go back previously where I was, and I can still come here and I go to this paste option here. I'll still find the same values here, the same options. You see, as I select this, it already shows my paste here. Okay, so guys, for now, this is what I have for you. Make sure you follow this as we move to the next lesson. The next lesson will be creating a simple tool. As an organization, you will be creating simple tools for data collection and also to help your team to do your projects. So stay blessed.